Welcome back to Plague Scythe Studios, everyone. A few videos ago, I talked about this fine-tuning tailpiece for tunematic bridges, which I installed on this SG, and I've absolutely loved it. For the past few days, I've had it installed, but this wasn't actually the only modification I ordered for this SG, and I'd planned on doing this earlier, but it just didn't come in time. So I want to open up that right now, show you guys what it is. All right, very small package, but great things, however that saying goes. So from Whammy Parts, looks like on reverb.com, is this Kahler Stringlock. And this does exactly what it sounds like. It locks your strings. The question is where? Well, most Floyd Rose or even Kahler systems like I have on my Agile, you use a locking nut to keep the strings in place here, and you use a fine tuning system on your bridge just like this one. However, this Kahler lock is actually designed to go behind the nut of your guitar, and that has a couple advantages. First of all, obviously, you don't have to mill out a certain area to install something like a Floyd Rose or Kahler locking nut. The second thing, though, is that whatever amount of tonal contribution the nut does to your guitar, you don't have to sacrifice it. How much that really matters when you're throwing a whole hell of a lot of distortion on a high gain amplifier in front of it, probably not terribly, but I like the sound of this guitar, and if that saves me a little bit of elbow grease and retains all the sound that I'm getting right now while still maintaining a little bit more convenience, I'm all for that. So we're gonna install this bad boy today, and I know there's probably at least some hardcore traditional guitarists out there thinking right now, that's not necessary, you're gonna tear up a Gibson for no reason, yada yada. I get the sentiment. If this were like a 70s or 60s SG, no way in hell would I be doing this. Fortunately, there are only 4 little tiny screw holes, and I'm not too worried about compromising the structural integrity of the guitar in any way because of that. Also, this neck is maple, not mahogany, so it is a little bit harder, which is good. But you do worry about that 17-degree headstock without any reinforcement there, because I had one pop on an Epiphone before, even though it is a little bit more shallow. So, I mean, is this necessary to keep good tuning stability? No, it's not, but it is a hell of a lot more convenient for me personally, and again, I want to try out this in conjunction with a fine-tuning tailpiece for extended range guitars, because if I like it here, I'll probably put it on something else in the future. So, what the hell? It's a 2014, least expensive SG out there. Might as well try it. So let's get this thing rolling. So first things first here, I'm going to attempt to save these strings again. I took these off from last time, and just in case something goes catastrophically wrong here, I don't want to bust out a new pair of Ernie balls for nothing. So we'll get these off real quick and move on to the next part. Okay, there's that part. Next thing, we got to take off the truss rod cover, and this is going to be an interesting problem to solve at a later time, because as you'll see where this nut lock goes, it kind of covers the bottom portion of this. Not a big deal. You can just cut this off and probably order one. They probably make them with a shorter scale, but that is the least of my worries as far as aesthetics go at this point, because down here we have mismatch between chrome and satin and all that stuff, so we'll worry about that later. Matter of fact, I'll probably keep this one and just buy one with I think you can custom order them with text on them, so I'll probably just get a bunch of text move up here and cut it off as I see fit. So with that, let's get the string lock on, and if I remember right, it goes that way. And with Gibson guitars, they don't recommend that you mess with anything. Yeah, okay, that's why you have this little cut there, is for the truss rod access, so that's actually good. And honestly, if I don't know, we'll see. I may like it bare, I'll have to see, but not the end of the world either way. So the way this works, and I didn't really 100% understand it until I took it apart, is there's just a couple plates that these screw into, and they just rest on the headstock itself until you feed the strings through. So it's not like an individual nut, although they do make ones of that kind. I'm just gonna do it this way. So I'm gonna set this nut lock, string lock thing up here and see if I can't center it the best I can. It's not gonna be a huge deal if it's off just a little bit, but I want it to look right. And the truss rod, I'm gonna center it around the truss rod. That'll probably be the best thing. So we'll do that. And of course there's gonna be no real great way to do this until I get one in. So that should be decently marked, I think. Yeah, okay, so we can see that. Now here comes the hard part of actually getting these to go through, because these screws are tiny. They're a bit longer than I anticipated. I don't even know if you'll be able to see that. Yeah, there you go. So they're a little longer than I thought they might be. They're still okay though. So I'm gonna see if I can puncture this and get it a little bit started before I take a drill bit to it. At least get a good mark there. Because this is what I'm working with as far as drill bits go. And I haven't found a way to rectify this situation yet. So this drill is older than dirt. It's from the 60s, early 70s, I think, probably early 70s. And I just been too tight to buy another one. This is my grandfather's, and it works, so I don't do a whole lot with it, or else I would buy a battery powered one. But this is the outlet, by the way. How metal is that? No grounding, no nothing. So as soon as I find an extension cord, I think we'll be all right. But I just taped this up to length, made it slightly shorter than what the screw length needs to be, and pray to the guitar gods that everything else goes well after that. I do have one more 16th inch bit. This was the smallest one I have, smaller than the screws we're using. And if this don't work, we're gonna have to take an emergency trip to Lowe's. So let's hope it does. So if you ever wanted to see what cheap or lazy looks like, this is what we're doing. Just long enough for me to get some articulation going here. So let me re-cameraman it and get us zoomed in. This is where the nerve-wracking part begins. I don't even know. This is close enough. Who cares? So wish me luck here. I'm gonna need it. Okay, I think we got one clean hole so far. Giggity. And we'll put that here and get the string lock on there, at least somewhat in, before I continue this drilling. All right, we're in, and as I hoped, I had to fight the last few millimeters just a little bit, and we might be off by like half a millimeter or something this way. Not have the whole guitar fall off, but I really can't tell. I can't tell if it's my mind playing tricks on me or not, but I'd have to measure it. Either way, it's close enough. It is more than close enough. There's more than enough gap within the actual insert. You know, it's probably like 3 times thicker than the actual string, so it's not a big deal. So from here, I'm going to do the exact same thing with this on, and do it on the other holes. There's no telling how many OSHA and other workplace safe practices regulations that I'm breaking by doing this. Fortunately, this isn't a workplace, although I guess it could technically be classified as one eventually. Now that's a little off center. That I'm not a huge fan of. Let's get another hole, and then we'll see if we can straighten that one out. Okay, that got us good and straightened out. And let's see if the other one will just cooperate with us, or if it's gonna be stuck, because I have a feeling it's gonna be stuck. If I gotta clean it out, it's okay, but yeah, it's just one going at an angle. If it goes, I don't care. Like, this thing is not going to be a structural necessity. 2 will hold the string lock. It's not a big deal. It's going in though. She is in, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff. My hand would quit shaking like I have Parkinson's. That'd be great. All right, one more to go. All right, a couple more hand tightens here. I think we're done, the install at least. Not bad at all. Okay, well, I think that looks great. If that came stock on every Gibson guitar, I really wouldn't even be mad. Matter of fact, I'd be happier because easier for tuning, keeping tuning. So we'll put the strings back on, slap that on, see how hard it is. The hardest part about this, I think, is going to be getting those used strings to go through the Stringlock. And if I can, I'll break out some new ones, but I'm gonna give it hell. Yeah, I don't know about this. I'll try. This one's gonna be the hardest one. Come on, you snaky bastard. Go straight. Oh, we might have it. We might have it, boys and girls. All right, we did it. So usually you have to fight the, it going into the tailpiece if you're, you know, trying to be cheap like I am. But the tailpiece isn't the problem right now because it's replaced with a fine tuning system. So not a big deal. These strings are going to probably sound like ass if I had to guess. But so I'm not recording with this just yet. I want to see if this shit works. And this should be like the worst case scenario, right? Taking strings that I've taken off twice and putting back on. If these things hold, anything will hold. If these things hold halfway decently, I'll be happy. But I think based on my, oh my God, get on there. Based on my experience with just the tailpiece alone so far, I think I'm gonna be really happy with this. This kind of eccentric bullshit that I do always makes me wonder, does this make me a more trustworthy looking resource or less trustworthy? Because on one hand, it's like, oh, he's just like me, you know, just a regular dude trying to get good guitar tones and show how to do it and all that good stuff. On the other hand, it's like this idiot won't even throw away a $4 set of guitar strings after spending half as much as the guitar costs on a bridge setup. So, I don't know. These strings are not wrapping very well. They're kind of crossing over each other, but I don't really care because we got a lock. Again, I'm kind of purposefully, Jesus, I can't say that word, purposefully wrapping them or doing this in a half-assed way, because if this works, like I said, anything above and beyond will be just fine. So there's that. I tried to say, what did I try to say at work the other day? Superfluously, that's what I tried to say. It took me like 5 times, and of course there was like a bunch of corporate vice presidents and stuff there, so that was good. It's always when my brain and mouth stop communicating to each other, so I'm gonna quit using big words. That's the moral of that story. This is doing an interesting thing to the string angle, which you can't see right now because my hand is blocking the entire shot, but I totally didn't even take this into account. So usually you get the string angle starts breaking from here, but now you got it here, which makes it a little bit more harsh, which, you know, it's not a big deal. It's the same shit really, but it looks different, you know, on the headstock itself, at least slightly different to a, you know, Gibson player like myself. So it's not like it's a bad thing since it's locked here, but that was always one of the big, or is still one of the biggest downsides to the way that Gibson does their headstocks. Still better as far as tension goes, at least on the strings themselves, than like a Fender or Ibanez doing it on one side, where you have, you know, straight line tuners. But this isn't as good as like what a lot of modern extended range guitars do and have the strings going perfectly in the center. Okay, these last couple are being an absolute pain in the ass, so I'm gonna do these off camera. And after I do that, I'm going to take a quick pause, clean up all this crap, get this thing halfway in tune, and we'll see how it treats us from there. So, BRB. Okay, so we're back in business. Stringlock is installed. I've got this recycled string pack here back on, and I don't have the string locks engaged yet. I'm gonna put this through a little bit of punishment and see how it holds up, and then we'll tighten them down and see what the result is. Well, they definitely work, because doesn't matter what the tension is here, it's gonna remain constant here, which means that whatever tuning adjustments I want to make have to do back here on the Tune-o-matic, which is exactly what I want. So if this thing holds, I will be freaking thrilled. I think it's safe to say that me and this tuning setup are going to get along just fine. This I've never heard this guitar, even after at least a fresh set of strings, be that in tune that fast without having to, you know, stretch on them and apply some nut grease and all that good kind of stuff to get it to settle in. I do have both, I guess, a disadvantage and an advantage using reused strings. They've already been a little bit stretched and ready to go, but I thought the experience would be a lot worse getting them to set in, but I've done, you know, lock it down, get it in, jam a couple times, done. That is phenomenal. So yeah, time will tell, see how my opinions solidify on this thing, but install was super easy. I really dig the way this thing looks installed though. If I could get something to cover that hole where the truss rod cover was, I'd be a little bit happier. I don't really think it needs a truss rod cover though. I think it looks great. I think the entire package kind of serves the workhorse nature of this guitar, which is exactly what I wanted. It's very minimalistic as is. I think it fits better in that way. Again, is this 100% necessary to keep perfect tuning stability and all that? No, but does it make your life easier? Yeah, and I think it looks cool. I wanted to try this before I applied it or thought about applying it elsewhere, and I'm glad I did here. So yeah, this will definitely make me and this guitar get along even better in the future when I record stuff and that sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to using it in that fashion. But if my opinions of it change at any point, I'll be sure to let you know. But right now, I think this is a really cool upgrade. And if you have something that you're not afraid to drill on a little bit to get these advantages, then I see no reason not to. It's a bit pricey, but I think in the long run, it's worth it. So this is a fun little experiment, and I'm sure we'll reapply this at some point down the road on something a little bit bigger of a project. So till then, stay tuned. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and we will see you next video. Bye.